welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CISSP Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the ISC Squared CISSP exam with focused explanations and practical context. In this episode, we will examine two essential components of a well-governed cybersecurity program: compliance auditing and evidence collection. These are not just regulatory exercises, they are foundational practices for maintaining trust, demonstrating accountability, and continuously improving your organization's security posture. For anyone preparing to earn the Certified Information Systems Security Professional certification, understanding how these processes work is not optional. You will be expected to know how audits are conducted, why evidence matters, and how these efforts contribute to maintaining robust, resilient security programs. Let us begin with compliance auditing. A compliance audit is a structured evaluation that measures how well an organization adheres to internal policies, industry standards, and applicable laws or regulations. Audits are methodical, guided by formal procedures and predefined criteria. They may focus on specific areas such as access controls, data protection, incident response, or risk management, depending on the scope and goals of the audit. What sets compliance auditing apart from other security reviews is its emphasis on alignment. Alignment between what your organization says it is doing and what it is actually doing. This means verifying that security controls are not only present but implemented properly. It means confirming that documented procedures are followed in practice and that security decisions are traceable, consistent, and justified. Effective compliance audits validate more than just paperwork. They assess the strength of risk management programs, the depth of training and awareness efforts, and the completeness of technical implementations. Regular audits foster a culture of accountability and transparency. They offer leadership insight into what is working well and where gaps may exist. They also prepare organizations to respond confidently to regulatory inquiries, customer expectations, or partner audits. For these reasons, compliance auditing is a vital part of modern cybersecurity. It is not about checking boxes or passing inspections. It is about learning, improving, and being prepared for scrutiny in a world where accountability is non-negotiable. Let us now go through the typical steps for conducting a compliance audit. The first step is to define your audit objectives. This means clearly stating what you want to evaluate and why. Are you testing for compliance with a standard like ISO 27001? Are you validating your incident response policy? Are you preparing for a government inspection? Your objective will shape your audit scope and methodology. Next, you define the scope. Scope defines what systems, processes, and teams will be included in the audit. For example, you might focus on data centers, cloud environments, or business applications. You might limit your scope to administrative controls, or expand it to include technical assessments and physical security. Once the scope is set, you develop an audit plan. This plan outlines how the audit will be carried out, who will participate, what tools will be used, and what the timeline looks like. The plan should also describe how findings will be reported, reviewed, and remediated. With the plan in place, the audit begins with documentation review. This involves collecting and examining relevant records, including policies, procedures, security logs, risk assessments, training logs, incident reports, and previous audit findings. This documentation provides a baseline for understanding how the organization intends to operate. The next step is field work. This includes interviews, inspections, and technical assessments. Auditors may interview staff to determine whether policies are understood and followed. They may inspect server configurations, access logs, or patch management records. They may simulate scenarios to verify readiness, such as triggering alerts or walking through incident response procedures. Finally, audit findings are documented in a formal report. The report includes observations, non-compliance issues, and recommendations. It also assigns severity levels, timelines for remediation, and responsible parties. This report is shared with management, and ideally, it becomes the basis for action, not just discussion. Now let us shift to the second half of today's episode: evidence collection. Evidence is the foundation of every audit. Without it, findings are just opinions. Evidence allows auditors to demonstrate whether a control is working, whether a process is followed, or whether a risk has been adequately addressed. In the context of compliance, evidence is anything that can be used to support or refute a claim about how your organization operates. This includes logs showing that systems were updated, screenshots showing access permissions, copies of training certificates, audit trails from security tools, configuration files, and even emails or meeting minutes. Good evidence is objective, verifiable, and traceable. It tells a story without relying on memory or assumption. For example, if a policy says users must change passwords every 90 days, then audit logs from the authentication system showing password change dates would be appropriate evidence. If a control states that only approved users can access sensitive data, then access control lists and role-based permission reports are valid evidence. Evidence also provides legal and regulatory protection. In the event of a breach, a compliance review, or a legal dispute, properly collected and stored evidence shows that your organization was acting in good faith and following established practices. It helps you prove compliance and defend your position. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Now let us look at effective practices for collecting evidence. First, document your evidence collection methodology. This includes explaining how evidence will be gathered, who is responsible, how it will be labeled and stored, and how long it will be retained. Include your data handling policies and chain of custody procedures to ensure that evidence remains untampered and traceable. Second, collect a variety of evidence types. Logs and screenshots can show system behavior. Documents can show what was planned. Interviews and observations can reveal what actually happened. Diverse evidence helps triangulate the truth and provides a fuller picture. Next, protect the integrity of the evidence. Use encryption for digital records, apply access controls to audit folders and evidence repositories, use secure timestamps and digital signatures where appropriate. Keep careful records of who accessed what and when. Even the best evidence can be challenged if its integrity is not protected. Evidence should also be validated regularly. This means checking that the data is up to date, relevant to the audit objectives, and consistent with other findings. Old or incomplete evidence can mislead and must be replaced. Lastly, train your audit team. Everyone involved in collecting evidence should understand the importance of objectivity, accuracy, and secure handling. They should be trained to spot suspicious anomalies, recognize valuable data, and follow procedures consistently. Security controls can support both auditing and evidence collection. Logging and monitoring systems create much of the evidence auditors rely on. These systems should be configured to capture relevant events, store logs securely, and alert administrators to any tampering or anomalies. Secure storage is essential. Whether using file servers, cloud platforms, or document management systems, ensure that evidence is encrypted and access is limited to authorized personnel only. The loss or compromise of audit evidence can have serious consequences. Auditing tools also benefit from automation. Automated scanning, reporting, and compliance tracking tools help identify issues faster and reduce human error. These tools also generate consistent records that can be used for analysis, review, and improvement. Controls must also protect the audit process itself. This includes securing the systems that auditors use, applying rule-based access to audit portals, and protecting communication channels. All findings, recommendations, and evidence must be guarded against unauthorized access or disclosure. Improvement must be part of the cycle. Audit methods and evidence practices should be reviewed regularly. Changes in regulations, tools, business processes, or threat landscapes may require adjustments. Lessons from previous audits, incidents, and feedback should be incorporated into future audits. Cross-functional collaboration is critical. Audits cannot be done in a silo. Teams from information technology, compliance, legal, human resources, and operations all have a stake in security and must work together to ensure complete, effective, and efficient audits. Training supports sustainability. Employees must understand the value of audits, know how to provide information, and feel confident that the process is constructive, not punitive. When audit and evidence processes are understood, they are more likely to be embraced. Thank you for joining the CISSP Prepcast by Bare Metal Cyber. Visit baremetalcyber.com for additional episodes, comprehensive CISSP study resources, and personalized certification support. Deepen your understanding of compliance auditing and evidence collection, and we'll consistently support your journey towards CISSP certification success.